It's gonna come back and actually get stopped. Are you okay with the first property, Stu? Yeah. Lisa, are you okay with just advancing the slides? Yes. Okay, all right, I'll let you know. There's only about 22 of them so far. What is your name? So are you trying money so what did you budget? Construction. So. Oh, I think that should be. Oh, I do understand. Are we recording, Jason? I'm going to extend a little grace for late arrivals. So start up around 7:05. All right. Testing, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
I want to comment for you right now, so I don't have to take time when you get up there.
Testing.
You are missing a map showing the historic neighborhood and historic structures. Now, if you're going to brand a neighborhood, you've got to include the national historic and local historic district.
It's, I didn't put it here, but it is in the document,
It didn't document.
the CRE plan document that we're generating. But we didn't overlook it. It'll
Yes. Hey, Ross. Second reading. April 19th.
Are we active on, yes, on Zoom already?
Yeah.
And who should know?
So we'll start up the meeting in about 2 minutes, so go ahead and get yourselves comfortable.
So well paid, well trained. Professor, you good to go? Sure. All right, I'm going to go ahead and gavel in the meeting. I'm assuming that there's some reduction in normal attendance because of the weather. At least the folks will show up as we get a little further into the meeting. But I'll go ahead and gavel us in now. And for introduction purposes and for those online, my name is Rick Fernandez, President of the Association. I welcome you to our general meeting of the Tampa Heights Civic Association, March 27, 2024. Brief introduction on Zoom protocols. We are streaming. Jason down here is our control center. And in the past, we have been using 2 mics in order to make this work. We're not doing that tonight. We have 1 mic on a stand. We have a mic on the table, which I am told is sensitive enough to pick up for Zoom purposes. So if you have an announcement to make, we do have a few folks that are in the queue for announcements tonight. Please come up to the podium. I will vacate. Say what it is you have to say, speaking into this microphone for the room, and try to project as best you can for the mic on the table. I don't think you have to really bust a gut to do it, but just be aware that that mic over there is the one that is capturing your voice for the folks online.
Our guest speaker tonight is Professor Trent Green at USF. Korean Young, who is right there, will be doing the introduction of both Professor Green and the program in just a few minutes. But first, I'm going to just rattle off a few announcements for you, and I do have a few of our leaders that have come up here also to offer some comments of their own. First announcement, for those of you who were here at the last meeting, and probably over several other meetings over the course of the last year, you're aware that the YMCA has been very actively engaged in a redevelopment project in and around their properties at the intersection of Florida Avenue and Palm. The first reading of their requests at the Tampa City Council was, last week. It seems like it was longer than that. The last Thursday, 5 p.m. at their regular session. The TCC City Council approved the three requests at that first reading. That was a comp plan amendment, a vacation of right-of-way, rezoning request. All three of those requests were approved by the TCC. I understand the second reading is a month out, generally is 4 weeks out from the original first reading, and it would be at the 9 o'clock meeting on Thursday morning. Just keep an eye out for future reference if you wish to go to the second reading and have any comment that you care to offer at that time. We certainly will be publicizing that as we get closer. I have not confirmed that date. I just understand this the normal protocol for TCC for their second readings. As I recall, the comp plan and the vacation of right-of-way votes were unanimous, 6-0. One of the city council members, Bill Carlson, was absent. He, for some reason, was noted as abstaining. Not sure why that is procedural. But in any event, 6-0 for the comp plan and the vacation of right-of-way. And then the rezoning passed by a vote of 5-1 with Council Vieira voting no. So this is not a done deal yet, but say it's probably a far piece down the road. The biggest issue, if you were at the meeting or if you were watching online, was about the height of the principal building, which is going to be going up in the area where the YMCA is now. And Roger, you can correct me on this, but my understanding is that the proposed building is going to be 24-story. There are other issues attendant to that. The principal objection you heard at the hearing was about the height of the building, scaling it down to some degree. I really heard no objections to the project writ large. The community showed up in number for the meeting. It went on for a while, and public comment, probably, I don't know, 20 to 30 people made comments during the meeting. All were positive as to the YMCA as a neighbor and generally as a project. The objections I heard, at least, were primarily directed to issues having to do with scale of the building and parking and traffic concerns, impacts that would be felt by the community immediately proximate to the project. So anyway, enough of that. There'll be another chapter of this, but for now, that's all I have to report. Roger Broga is the chair of our Neighborhood Improvement Committee. He has a couple of announcements. Roger, come on up.
Thank you, Rick. Thank you. Hello, everybody. So 2 announcements. There are 2 groups that I'm helping form. One's already formed, but I'm trying to invite the neighborhood to the interested parties to join with us. The first group is something I call Citizens Action Group on Street Lighting. I have been working over the last 18 months with Hyde Park Historic Neighborhood Association and the City Mobility Department, Jan Washington, specifically in mobility. And mobility is looking for the citizens of Tampa to work with that department in one, selecting standardized street poles and light fixtures for the city. That means if some other neighborhood chooses something and we don't participate, we're going to get what they choose. So I'm asking you all to contact me. I already have 2 people prior to today who are interested. Now, in addition, it's not just choosing the poles and the fixtures, it's the kind of lighting. I would, and when we get a group together, I have PowerPoints on what is called the dark sky concept. Lighting that does not pollute the air with ambient lighting, just shines down where it's needed. Not only is it good ecological, but it is safer because the light is not in your eye at night. When a bright light is shining in your eye, that's not safety. You're the one being spotlighted, and you can't see other people. So there's many issues with this lighting, and I'm asking you all to please tell your neighbors and friends, contact me. This group is forming. It's going to take a while. Things go slow with the city, but better that we participate than not participate and then say, hey, why are we getting this? So that's number one. Number two, I'm a member of something called the Preservation Roundtable. This is a citywide group interested in preservation, not only of buildings, but of street grids and of the brick streets and the granite curbs, as well as green spaces such as cemeteries and open landscape. So this group meets once a month. Our next meeting is at noon, the 29th of April, at the second floor conference room of Union Station. This group is very well, I would say, I'd use the term well-powered. We've never had a meeting that there hasn't been at least one city council or county commissioner or someone like that in the audience. And last 3 days ago, we had a presentation by the City County Planning Commission on the comp plan. And it was a very informative. It would, beyond the preservation issue, it was so universal with the ideas that were covered. It's a great group. And I hope, again, if you are interested, and I hope you will be, tell your friends and neighbors, contact me, and hope to see you at the Preservation Roundtable. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Raj. Matt Sink, Northwest Quad Rep and Board Member.
Hey guys, I've got 2 really quick announcements. We are gonna do the first yard sale, garage sale for the Northwest Quadrant. For those who know, it's bordered by Columbus on the south, MLK on the north, Florida on the east, and North Boulevard on the west. So on the weekend of April 13th and 14th, we're gonna do a community-wide yard sale. Door knockers are going to be going out to notify the neighborhood, I believe, this following weekend. Anybody who'd like to participate and join into it, please let us know. And then the other thing that we're going to be doing, the goal of this is just to figure out what the kinks are so we can do a community-wide and attract more people and just do something for the neighborhood that will kind of use marketing in a smart way to get people in there so they can make some money for spring cleaning. And then the other thing we have is the April porch party will be held on April 19th. My company is sponsoring it at our office, which is 105 East Woodlawn. It starts at 6 p.m. and runs till around 8:30 or 9. That's it.
Thanks, Matt.
Okay, next to announcements, well, the next one I'll take, just real quick. Some of you are probably aware that there have been ongoing discussions with the Department of Transportation, the city of Tampa, regarding the barrier that we would like to see go up in the eastern boundary of Robles Park, separating the park from the interstate. This drama has a real long going back over 2 years. But at the moment, where we are is that the Department of Transportation is intent on building a 14-foot standard wall. It's a barrier wall with a noise barrier on top of it, which when you're done in the aggregate is a 14-foot barrier. And there has been some objection raised by members of the community that live in and around the area of Robles Park. Lena has been a particular leader in the discussions, but I've been following right along with her, and a number of people have taken up the cause before the Transportation Planning Organization, advocating for a green wall, a green barrier, in lieu of the 14-foot wall, to have a wealth of trees and landscaping appropriately layered. There is science behind this. There is a way to barricade the interstate from human beings using vegetation. And the city of Tampa, surprisingly enough, has actually shown up at a meeting over at Robles Park that Lena and I were part of. And even they are willing to participate in the provision of trees. You may have seen in the press that our mayor, Castor, intends to plant 30,000 trees between now and 2030 in order to supplement the losses to our tree canopy thanks to developers over recent years. So we're advocating that a few of those trees ought to wind up over on the park side of Elmore, and that the Department of Transportation and their landscaping contractor provide the other landscaping to the east side of Elmore. These discussions are ongoing. We expect we will be presenting another argument to the TPO board at their April meeting. So stay tuned, keep following your hymnal. And if you're interested in this topic, if you think there's some benefit to having green instead of concrete, then you might want to reach out to Lena and or me, and we can make sure to plug you in so that you can become part of public comment when this comes up again. Okay, that's strategic planning process. I want to ask Paul Grabeau to come up. He's our Southwest Quad representative and board member. He facilitated our first session, strategic planning session on Monday at his home that I think was very well, one, done and two, received. So Paul, why don't you come up and give us 2 or 3 minutes of your thoughts, all right?
Hello, everybody. My name is Paul Rabo, and I'm Southwest Rep on board for the THCA. We're in the middle of our strategic planning process, looking at something like a 1, 2, 3 year outlook, if not longer. So we're in the process of collecting lots of data from all the community, as well as board members and businesses and you name it. So that process is going to probably take a month or so. So be on the lookout for surveys, or we have goal sheets back here. So if you have any words or thoughts or long paragraphs, go ahead and scribble them down on those sheets, and we're going to compile all the information, and I'll be able to keep you all updated on that process and how we move on. So we're just now beginning that. We had a kind of a board focused strategic planning session, working through the bylaws, mission, vision, values, stuff like that. And I can update you guys a lot more once we have more input from the community. So there are a bunch of goal sheets back there. So as the meeting progresses and things come to light, don't be afraid to run back there and scribble down something. Or you can always send emails to the THCA email address, or hopefully we'll have some sort of digital communication out your way. All right, so I'm Paul. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Thank you. Thanks.
Are there any questions for anyone that just presented an announcement to you? Anybody have anything you off the cuff that you want to drill down on a little bit? No? Okay. We'll be around after the meeting, so obviously if you have any follow-up, please feel free. Along those lines, I want to encourage you, either in person or online, by email, Facebook, whatever, consider it a member interest component. We would really love to get your ideas, in this case specifically as to future meetings. If there are areas of interest that you would like us to pursue, speakers that you would like us to pursue, let us know. You can raise your hand at one of these meetings or send an email out to the general email account and just give us your thoughts. It isn't necessarily easy to think up and plan these edge of your seat presentations, keep people interested, but it is what we want to try to do. Or at least my intention is to bring you as much information as we possibly can so you can make informed decisions about the things that matter to the community. And it doesn't need to just be my ideas or ideas from the board. It shouldn't be. So, I hope you'll not be shy about reaching out to us with any thoughts that you may have. I appreciate that. Okay, with that said, time to move on to our program. I'm going to call our first VP up, Kareem Young, to introduce our speaker in the program. Kareem, it's all you.
Hey, good evening, everyone. So I'm going to ask if I can just give us a quick report about the CRA within the 2 or 3 minutes that I have, then introduce you to our path together.
Okay.
There are really no new items. What we have is an update as far as Doyle Carlton is concerned. There's a speed table now that is on Doyle Carlton. This was something that the neighborhood requested that we allocated funds to. But here's the catch, is that mobility department placed that one there without us actually having to pay. So we paid for another speed table on Doyle Carlton to lead the traffic. We also have our fiscal year planning process starting. And one of the issues that we're making sure of is that we can track, at least if funds have been reallocated, how the line item naming has changed. That's very important. We're trying to keep our eyes on exactly how these funds are transferred from year to year, and make sure that we keep our fingers on it. And the last bullet point that I have is we believe we finally get some traction. I know that there's some people in the community who are artists who are asking about a roundtable structure that we're looking to implement. We do have a little bit more traction with the city arts department, and we'll actually have a liaison that can work us through the processing to get that structure, that artistic structure at the roundabout. The roundabout is on Palm and Highland will be the first one. So that's all I have as far as the CRA update. Now, I have the privilege and honor to introduce Professor Trent. He has been working along with the CRA. Professor Green is a professor at the University of South Florida. As you can see up top, he works with the School of Agriculture and Community Design. He has an extensive length of experience that he doesn't just sit and listen inside of our meetings. He's been about 6 meetings at Riverfront. So for the last 6 months, he's been at our CRA meetings. What was important for me is to hear his wisdom and his understanding of community design and tie it also into everything that we want to get accomplished as a community, that the community has reported to the CRA through the CAC. Just so you all know that he listens closely to every detail that we discussed, and then he incorporates it in some way, shape, or form, given the understanding of the Florida statutes of the CRA, into the CRA update. I'm going to let him introduce a little bit more of the work, but I just want to talk just a couple more comments about him. Is that even during the meetings, he keeps us to task with being able to connect us to what the CRA
is to be about, but he also is looking at the other areas on the outside of the CRA. Why is that so important? As many of you know, our CRA has not a lot of slum and blight at this point. So per the state statute, that slum and blight area has pretty much been accomplished, being removed. So we as a community and also reporting to the CHC, to the CRA through the CHC, have had discussions about extending the boundaries of the area, you know, possibly go in different directions. Sometimes we hear that those are bad words when it comes to the city or when it comes to city council. But again, the statute states that this is something that the community has input for. Professor Green has consistently been able to capture a lot of the history that the community's wants. He also is dealing with the other stakeholders and interviewing those stakeholders, and I'm not going to take too much more of your time. I'm going to bring Professor Green up, or if you want me to bring the microphone down there, Professor Green?
Yes, I guess I can say it here. That's okay.
Yeah.
Is this the one that's
Go
not
ahead.
just streaming?
This one is loud for everyone to hear.
Okay. Thank you, Green. And good evening, everybody. And thank you for having me. It is a privilege to always meet community residents on your turf, so to speak. I've been doing this for quite a while, longer than I care to admit. Not just here in Tampa, but in other cities around the United States as well. But the city of Tampa has hired us, that is our research division at the university, to update the CRA plan for the Tampa Heights Riverfront CRA, as well as the Central Park CRA. So we're doing both sort of simultaneously. But tonight, I wanted to just sort of give you an update on what we're doing, because we are probably about, let's say about 60% done with the effort. There's been a lot of research that we had to do to get up to speed on this. We got started a little bit late last year, but we're I think we've got our on the same point. So the Central Park, rather the Tampa Heights Riverfront CRA is following this area that you see on this aerial image. Just if you go to the next slide. Okay. So the community redevelopment area plan itself. Okay. Now this what we're doing is the first sort of comprehensive sort of update or rewrite of the plan since it was established or rather adopted back in '96. It took a while for really things to get going, but it has been amended 4 times, and I'm still looking for those amendments. Cities yet to sort of remember what they actually amended. Okay. But the plan, of course, at this point doesn't fully reflect what has transpired in the community, and that's one of the things that we're looking to do with the update itself. So the plan update will take a look back what has happened within the CRA, as well as around the edges, like Kareem was mentioned earlier. We'll provide a sort of an update on where things are at this point. And we'll sort of take a glimpse into the future as well. I think I come to it a little bit later in the presentation. But here's an excerpt from the original plan itself. And you see it says in 2003, the City Council approved the community plan entitled the Tampa Heights Plan, Rebuilding Community, also referred to as the Tampa Heights Neighborhood Plan. And I'm not sure if many of you were around back then to work on that, but I remember when it was done. But it's the intent of the CRA plan itself and any redevelopment in the area should encompass the stated goals and visions of the Tampa Heights neighborhood plan. Okay, that's one of the things that we want to make sure that we capture in this update itself, because the city staff that we've been working with, they tend to just look at the edges and inside. That's it. The CRA is still part of the community, the Tampa Heights community. Okay, next slide, Jason. Thank you. So here you can sort of see in this map the Tampa Heights Riverfront CRA and local Tampa Heights context. No, there's a lot of lines here that many of you may not understand, but everything that's sort of outlined in red, there you can sort of see the bend in the river. Now that's the CRA itself. Within that area, there's about 77 acres of land that's part of the Tampa Heights Riverfront CRA. And you can also see where that red line sort of abuts some of the other red lines. And those are the other CRAs, okay? You see the downtown CRA in the lower right, the downtown core, which is sort of still part of the downtown CRA. And then you can sort of see where the West Tampa CRA abuts the Tampa Heights Riverfront CRA as well. Okay, excited. He's freaking a little bit. Sort of cut up on the left. But yeah, thank you. Okay. But the CRA plan, this is the guiding document for private sector investment or redevelopment activity, as well as public sector investments within the CRA boundaries. Okay. So in other words, when the city spends money within the CRA, if it's not in the plan itself, they can't do it. Okay. This update will summarize, as I mentioned, past redevelopment activity in the district, provide a status of current conditions, and then clarify the potential for redevelopment looking out into the future. The plan has to conform or comply with the Community Redevelopment Act 1969, otherwise known as the Florida Statute 163, Part 3. Okay, that's the legal basis for the city to undertake redevelopment in these designated areas. Okay, it also has to comply with the city's Imagine 2040 comprehensive plan. Okay, as well as the city's the city's community redevelopment agency, Tampa City Council, their mission as the redevelopment agency, Tampa Heights neighborhood plan, as I mentioned, as well as other local regulations. That includes zoning and any type of overlays, things like that. Okay. The plan also has to acknowledge other relevant plans and initiatives that are already in place, as well as what's being proposed. The CRA Tax Increment Finance Trust Fund, the TIF fund, as it's more commonly known, was established in 2005 for the Tampa Heights Riverfront CRA, and it has a 30-year lifespan. So that suggests that the CRA, as well as the TIF fund, will sunset by 2035. Okay. As I mentioned, the CRA is about 77 acres of land, of course, in the southwest portion of the Tampa Heights neighborhood. And currently, there are 43 acres, not more, that are controlled or that have been assembled and now controlled of solar capital. Okay. Now they have what's called a PDA zoning for those 43 acres. Okay. That means it's planned development alternative. That alternative is the way their master plan is reviewed by the city. That is, there it gives them a lot of flexibility, okay? Of course, as you well know, their property is the only remaining developable land within the CRA itself, okay? Now, they do have a revised master plan. We've seen it. They haven't shared it with us yet. And we're assuming that's because they haven't, hasn't been amended yet with the city, okay? So the next image I'll show you is from well, it's 10 years old now, but it's the 2014 master plan they had. The revised master plan that they're working with now was just completed. I think Adam Harden told us it was just completed in December. But it's quite different than the older master plan. Okay. Yes.
If they have revised their plan and goes to the city, at what point does it come to the CHC or to the community for us to see what they're proposing in the revised?
If I'm not mistaken, I think they have to do two, like a first reading or something like that before it's actually approved or adopted. Okay, I'm just not sure about that process at the city, but you will get a chance, of course, to weigh in. Okay. So their strategy or their development approach, let's say, is a long-term phase development. It's what you see, building after building start to come out of the ground, completed, and that will continue until they ultimately build out, all that land that they have available to them. So, okay. Now, the only other development or entity within the CRA is the Bushroff Law Firm building, Stetson Law School, of course, Hillsborough Bar Association, the Lely Restaurant, the back office building, and the former City of Tampa's television building. The only other entities that are contributing to the TIF fund would be the Bushroff Law Firm and the back office building. The other two entities are nonprofit or institutions. So, but 74% of the TIF fund is actually committed to so capital in terms of the amortizing the debt on the bond that we're used to build. I think put in the infrastructure, the roads, the utilities, and all of that. Okay. I'm not sure if the garage was part of that as well. Next slide, thank you. So again, here's their an image of the aerial image of the 2014 master plan. So they sort of moved some things around. That is certain buildings. Of course, sort of see the garage doesn't look like that. It's that one large structure. They're just above park. But they moved some things around, and that suggests that they moved density around also. Okay. Next slide. Okay. Again, just sort of a 3D image of what that, what that 2014 plan would look like. These numbers have changed. Okay. And let's see. This is just sort of some stats on what they're proposing to build back then, of course. Next slide. And this is what they're working from now. So this sort of shows their PDA, how they've sort of taken all that property and sort of really sort of portioned it out for certain blocks and for certain buildings. Okay. Next slide. Thank you. Now, you can't see this from where you're sitting, but Jason has a copy of of the presentation, but there's one line I want to draw your attention to. It's this line right here. Okay, now you see the term entitlements. That suggests that's what they are permitted or allowed to build. They're entitled to build it. And if I can come down here and take a look at my screen for just a second, I'll give you an idea of what that actually means in terms of real numbers. Excuse me, just a second. So they are entitled to build 100 marina slips in the river. They're entitled to build 2,650 residential units. They're entitled to build general office. It says 150,000 square feet, but then right next to it, it has corporate headquarters, which is office also. An additional 600,000 square feet. Commercial retail, 330,000 square feet. 515 hotel keys or hotel rooms. A theater of, let's see, it says a 600-seat theater and a 50,000 square foot recreational facility. Okay, that's what they're permitted to build on the rest of that land at this point.
Wow.
Right, they're entitled to do that. Okay. Next slide. So this sort of shows all of their land, most of it is what that one white empty block, rather, that's not total, is here. But there will be buildings there as well. Those orange blocks are the development parcels that they're going to again sort of build out over time. Okay. Next slide. This is sort of a 3D image, sort of like the one you showed earlier. It's just sort of a line drawing that sort of shows what a lot of that mass could look like. Now, this building right here. This is the hotel that would be just behind the parking garage. Okay. If you notice, there's the back of the parking garage where Sprout says it doesn't go right up to Highland, right? Okay, there's a gap there. That's where you're going to build that hotel. Okay, I think they're going to say that big oak tree that's right at the southwest corner of the garage, but that's the hotel. Now, again, I'm just speculating, but that's going to be somewhere in the neighborhood. I was counting the number of floors in it on another diagram. I'll show you in just a moment. Probably be somewhere in the neighborhood about 250, maybe 200, close to 300 feet tall. A little less than 30 stories. Right. Right. Okay. A little less than 30 stories. So somewhere around 25 to 27 or something like that. Okay. Yes.
So, we were told there's gonna be a little boutique hotel. So this doesn't, I mean, there seems to be something, there's definitely important about it. I mean, I don't think we were blind, sounds like. Oh, that's the other.
Okay, yeah, they do own a parcel just outside of this area, on the other side of Tampa Street. Yes, no, they do own another parcel just on the east side of Tampa Street as well. Okay, which is not in the CRA, so that's why we're not showing it here. Okay, and I'm not sure if they've actually bought the property acquired the property on the west side of North Boulevard. Once you come down on the bridge. Okay. Yeah. They have. Okay.
But it's part of the CRA.
No, actually, that wouldn't be inside the CRE. Yeah. Okay. Now on this, also, you'll see this other sort of orange agglomeration of buildings. That's what the Y is proposed. Okay, and they're, of course, they're private sector partner. And over here, of course, that's what's being built over in West River. Okay. So we wanted to make sure that, like I was saying earlier, that we're not just looking within within those boundaries of that red line, because there are other things happening too, just adjacent to it. Okay. And I think we would be doing you a disservice, as well as the rest of the community and the city, if we didn't sort of show what's happening around here. Now, one of the things that we're taking a look at, and again, it's not really an extensive look, but we're sort of curious when we got started with this. We were wondering, well, how quickly, how much are property values increasing around. So we do have a little bit of data that looks at the area just north of CRE, where the most is single family, and of course now a lot of townhouse infill development going on. It's not surprising, as you should probably well know, that property values are tremendously on the increase at this point. I was surprised to see what they were asking for the townhouses that are just at the northeast corner of the Sierra East, right here. The townhouses, 17. 4 townhouses, yeah, 4 townhouses. Yes, over 1.3 billion. Per year. Yes. Yes. Yes.
I just want to interject here. Townhouses, corner of Jefferson, Morgan, Oak Street. Also, all over 1.6 million. And I'm not even gonna comment on the architecture, but let me tell you, they sold like. Yeah.
I was just down at the Black English bookstore here 2 weeks ago, and there was the townhouses that are there. Is that the one you're referring to? Okay, yeah. Okay. Now, we recognize that. Well, Solo Capital they have their master plan. They're entitled to build. What's already been approved, of course. But we started thinking about what else is sort of missing, or what else could happen in the CRA. And so at this month's CAC meeting, we brought this to the attention of the CAC members, the possibility of making a connection across the river with a pedestrian bridge. Okay, some type of iconic infrastructure feature that connects the right bank, if I can use that term, of the Riverwalk to the left bank. Okay, it's not uncommon for a lot of cities to sort of look at these types of features for a number of reasons, because they're trying to increase connectivity and access. Okay. And we started looking around again at this whole area and said, okay, so we've got Blake High School just across the river, and of course the soccer. I'm assuming they're going to be using that for practice, whatever. And then just beyond that, you've got the schools and the ball fields, and then coming down once you get underneath the interstate, the city just spent all that money on the Red Julian Lake Park. Okay. But from Tampa Heights, you'd have to come all the way back up to, what is that, Laurel?
bridge to get across, to get there. So we introduced this as a way to connect, one side of the river to the other, so that you can minimize people having to cross streets. Okay, and it'd be easier for, let's say, somebody in Tampa Heights to actually walk, or somebody push a kid in a stroller or a bike even. Okay, all the way to Julie Lane Park without having to cross one of the busier thoroughfares. Um, um, but what this suggests is that the Riverwalk isn't just these two isolated sort of strips paths along the edge of the river. Now this could become an actual network, okay, a pedestrian network. Okay. We're going to put this in the document. We're going to have to sort of maybe wordsmith it a little better, so so staff will not tell us to take it out. It's not fun. Okay. But we'll certainly allude to this type of feature as one of the potentially other than improvements, let's say, to fill the Gardens Park. Those are the last sort of public realm features that we see that could benefit from the tip. Okay. Now there's some other public realm features that are much smaller that I'll talk about in just a second. Right? Next slide. Okay. But here's
Ask you, is any $10 from any, it's activities,
I'm sorry.
$10 can be used for the bridge, but that bridge can be.
Sure. And one of the things that one of the reasons why we suggest that is because this would link to CRMs. So you can have West Tampa CRM participating in something like that as well. Okay. Now again, this is the Heights 201 office building. It's I think they've got the lot sort of fenced off. I'm not sure if they've started coming out of the ground yet. Construction, but going vertical on. But that's what it looked like. This is it's been sort of in the public domain now for these images for quite some time. Next slide. Okay. And there you can sort of see it there. And there, that's the hotel building up against the garage. That's a little too early. Okay. Okay. And here's just some of the drawing that were submitted as part of their submission to the city. Okay. And here's the what's being proposed by the Limestone and Ellison development. Okay. So you can sort of see the property that the why it's just why once it's there, it develops some actual property over here as well. But the vacation that was alluded to earlier would be the actual Y that's in the front of the street, of course. And they do show, I believe it's in the next image, where they're actually spanning over Florida Avenue to connect east to west. And I think it's the same right.
It is.
Yeah.
That's where the actual YMCA functionality is going to take place.
Right.
That's where you're going to work out.
Yes. Okay. So essentially replacing the existing facility. Yes.
The land use committee had a presentation 2 months ago, and the actual Y workout building on the left here has been reduced in height.
Okay.
So this is a little taller than what they're proposing.
Okay. Okay. So This is the portion of the presentation I'm going to end at because um, the Tampa Downtown Partnership made a presentation to the CAC several, well, I guess last month's meeting, and they talked about neighborhood branding. And this is an effort by the Special Services District, which of course is now includes Tampa Heights or a portion of Tampa Heights, where they're proposing to put certain types of features, graphic elements, let's say visual elements, to brand the they call it 7 downtown neighborhoods. Okay. Next slide. And here you can sort of see, so the yellow line is sort of the outline of the Special Services District. And within that, each name, of course, suggests, the 7 different downtown neighborhoods that they're including in this effort. So they've come up with this, with these branding features that try to capture the history or legacy, let's say, of each of these communities in sort of a very succinct manner, making some type of iconic sort of graphic element. Okay. So I guess these are some of the questions that they asked during the brainstorming session. They're coming up with this, and I'm not sure that
That part of the problem with this whole thing, I think, is that there things are, to me, backwards. I mean, it sounds like if they went and they gave it to branding, and then they didn't really consult. And the other thing is the whole thing. I mean, when you're saying that the city and several capital meet together and then they get input from the community, it really sounds like they're just checking boxes. I mean, the whole thing was so elaborate to me in the architectural content, and it's so incongruous with the surrounding neighborhoods. I mean, and that's a little bit about how all Tampa is built. It's like a mismatch. You don't have like the city hall next to, a glass tower building. I mean, it's, to me, I don't know, it just doesn't sound like, it sounds like they're gonna do what they're gonna do, and then they're gonna tell us, check the little boxes, say, I don't know. Yeah.
When and where?
I remember these questions about 2 or 3 years ago, being having a survey.
Yeah, I'm not sure about how this process unfolded. The folks have sent it part
Yeah,
of it.
I mean, there's some survey, but
Because they weren't sort of, consulting for the icon or design.
A lot of this goes down inside baseball stuff. Decisions being made, then we're told.
Right.
And maybe somebody will stumble in one of our meetings to happen to just tell us what the decision is made against it. But I mean, from my perspective, we haven't been incorporated in this discussion.
So I just want to make a correction. From what I understand, there was representative from our board that did go and participate in this and reported back to us. Didn't understand exactly how to do it, and how it was, I'm not sure that provided to us. It had information.
You are here at our civic association. I didn't want to plan that you don't.
Right.
That's respect our neighborhood and respect our residents. Consider us important enough to give our space. Yeah, tell us what's going on. I have not seen a visit from the partnership yet. After meeting with the presentation, and they have this whole plan that was given. Why from several times, other people that have come here for the projects, we get the meeting, we get the apartment, That's how you respect the neighborhood. That's.
Yes.
In support of what Lena's saying, Y has made changes in their plan relative to the comments by the land use committee.
That's typically how it works. Only place I've worked in.
Looking at the plans and the, you know, I understand. All that. I do feel like it should be integrated better than it is in terms of, to me, Tampa has different streets and roads and porches and stuff, and this is so not bad. So.
Well, I guess they did try to go to the next implementation. Okay, again, just some of the things that I guess they asked in the,
No, they didn't.
session.
No, sorry, they decided. Yeah.
Right? Okay, so this is how they're brand new.
Okay. Someone in virtual is asking, are the logos finalized or will the community still have input on those?
From what I understand, they are finalists.
Thank you.
Also, let me add that downtown partnership presented this information to the CHC. Yeah. But they did state that they would take input from the community, but we did not hear them say that there would be any type of implementation. One of the suggestions that we made at the CHC that this probably should be more specific to Tampa Heights, local business district area, which is Fairfield Street, as opposed to the rest of the community. One of the pushbacks that I had with the presentation was that it was stated that most of these 7 neighborhoods do not have any member. And pushback with the question about where the so I believe that they have some money to spend and if we're doing it. I will say again, not anything that anyone has said, but I do remember that we had a report that came back and reported back to us that they had a session. There was no finalized information, nothing that was said, okay, here's what the community can't say that. I would say reach out. I don't want to say it. It's just say there was context in what they were doing, not to the finish product.
But the association that and for 4 years of bringing north, south, east, and west together, finally get a neighborhood plan that the community is actually proposing for now. You remember this? And then we went to planning commission, they issued maximum comprehensive plan. We went to city council, the other entities that voted against it was the council and parliament, and then the mayor signed. In your slides up here, you showed our neighborhood plan, you showed the connection that all of us have for 4 years, right? So that was all people wanted. And so to have another activity that said, you know, when I think about each we keep out the fighting for years. But people have always wanted to be created for the right thing has been a whole so long. And then the whole part of that. So from my perspective, I'm very interested.
All right, Natasha, why don't you go ahead? We're running out of minutes.
Okay. The one, I think this is the last, this should be the last slide I have, but with, thank you. But the one issue that I brought up And when I brought it up, I was looking right at the city staff. And it's, okay, so the downtown partnership is moving forward with this brand, mega brand effort. There's also an effort to introduce wayfinding elements and features in the CRA. And the main entity, property owner there, developer, from what I understand, is part of the conversation, which I'm pretty sure they're gonna have their own branding element as well. My concern as an urban community designer and as an architect is that this is all gonna look kind of this man. It's gonna be some of this over here, some of this over here, some of this over here, but it doesn't seem like people are talking about, well, how should we coordinate all of this? Who should be at the table to help us sort of figure this out? So again, it doesn't look confusing. You know, one side of the street, it looks like this, because these types of elements, they're gonna place on signage, graphic, banners, poles, stickers on trash cans, things like that. Okay, to literally brand the visual context in that manner, the public realm, in that manner. And you get across Tampa Street, now here's another brand. That's going on. So, and you know, I'm not sure how if we can address that with the CRE plan update document, but I just sort of see it as a little bit sort of fragmented in that respect. Okay. But that's all I have. I do have some maps over here. Some of these are images that we, that had in the slide presentation. But I'm welcome to, to talk with you a few more minutes about some of this as well. Right.
Can you give us your recent dates?
Yeah, so we're in the process now. We have a working document. We have two actually working documents going side by side. So one is just a Word document. We're putting in all the narrative. We're collecting all the graphics and doing it. The final document will be published in InDesign, document publication software. The intent is to meet with city council members individually, their teams here next, probably throughout the month of April, so they can sort of see what's been going on. They didn't tell us we should or had to do that. Of course, we would have been doing it all along. But here we are, 11th hour, and said, well, we need to do this. Okay, that's fine. So after that, we will have a final draft document presentation with the city council of the CRA board on May 9th. Okay. After that, again, of course, there will be several hearings, let's say, on the document itself before it's actually adopted. Because we will also have to present to the plan commission as well for all city. Okay. We anticipate some, some revisions, hopefully not a lot. Okay, but we'll see.
Out of respect for everyone's time, it's 10 after 8 right now. I'd be willing to not only encourage, but embrace maybe another 5 or 10 minutes of Q&A as part of our meeting that is actually still on Zoom, if you're okay with time, and then gather us out in 10 minutes. If anybody has questions for the professor, Eric? Professor, before you answer, could you repeat the question as best you understand it? So
Yes, the question was about the amount of glass glazing on some of these modern structures, let's say. And the concern is for glare and of course reflections. Now, we do recognize that most buildings that you're going to probably see going up are likely to be, if they're taller buildings, more than likely they're going to be glass. Even here, where some people might say, well, that just doesn't make sense. Okay, but that's just the type of architectural expression that a lot of these buildings tend to make these things. Okay. They do have ways to make it energy efficient, even with a lot of glass. Okay. But and I'm now speaking from my architect side. But we still do consume a lot of energy. Now, in the document itself, we will probably have a short piece that talks about character, the architecture character of the buildings, specifically because of what Roger mentioned earlier about proximity to historic district. So we will acknowledge that.
Maybe a lot of them need a lot of need to make that efficient if you can afford it still and not try to kind of come in and retrofit.
There's a question here, do you feel that landscape I know.
Yeah, yes. Within the vocabulary are many ways. Something that I have not heard anybody talk about is the idea of highways, all of heat sinks. And creates environmental changes in the neighborhood. In Europe, all the cities that the buildings have grass buildings. This is something that we really should be pushing for this type of project, as well as the law. Well, the buildings will be of the modern genre.
Okay, do we have any more questions for the professor when we get into an inner debate? Brian?
Yes, maybe a little bit repetitive. So I was watching online and took a couple minutes off. But very specifically, can CRA boundary be expanded? Is it being expanded at all? And if so, why can't we expand it?
Why can't what?
We expand CRA boundary.
That's a definite question for the city council or the CRA board itself. It's an uphill battle, but it's a long drawn out process to do so. Is it possible? Yes. Okay. The development here can't just spot that. Okay. The CRA is essentially creating a partnership between the city and county. Okay. So that's where that issue that so we discuss.
Sorry, and we have dealt with this for years. It's always come back to the political issue. But from what we've heard in rumblings of is that we want to expand the city required, and they have found favor. Do you know if that is in process? Okay.
Yes.
I know you had a district neighborhood calendar, to be all those things in there, all those things on. That there's going to be a lot of second think about it's not
that the bridge is essentially between the two
Which is really is going to be south. Cheapest, easiest options. Cars over. Areas. Plenty of room on that bridge. It would be like, that's retrofit versus building entirely new bridge. South of that bridge. We need that. I think that's a safety of that bridge. Right, yeah, if you walk, there's no barrier. So, I can be protest.
Is there was a pedestrian, is there an answer?
The boundary access goes right to that edge.
That hemisphere,
So that's the, I mean, the boulevard still a city street, so that could be an issue with the mobility part.
They were gonna fund lights, street put lights up in the bridge, they, by there.
like a sort of middleman. Big tech mobility has been known.
Hey, question?
Yeah, when you pointed out the different CRAs and how they introduce to each other, I was wondering if there's ever been any thought of having them I'm not concerned, meet together, work together. I mean, it seems like that would be so much sensible in terms of developing like the downtown.
Right. That's a good point, and that's one of the reasons why we use that. There's an opportunity for two series to try to come together.
But
It's
I
one-
mean, I would say that they were all separate.
Right.
It's never working together at all.
Okay, folks, we have reached our scheduled arrival time.
Yeah.
You're at the gate.
This kind of thing, that kind of thing, something hard to do. That premise. You know, our community.
Yes, that's something we have to sort of consider outside of this area. But yes.
Professor, I don't know if you're available to stick around after the meeting. If anybody has questions, we give in as far as the formal meeting. Gathering this out, thank you all for coming. And the Zoom is dead. Thank you. Thank you.